Well, on behalf of our family as individual and on behalf of Vietnamese community, we would like to say thank you so much for the voice program. You guys doing a great job. It is my honor and privilege to be part of it. Thank you. And here's my daughter, Kiman.
I'm really happy to be here as well. I grew up in West Michigan, and I did leave for a little bit, but I'm back because this is home.
All right. Yep. Well, believe it or not, we our family moved to San Diego for a few years, and people say San Diego is the best place on planet, right? We went there, and we decided to come back to West Michigan.
Yeah.
So how much we love West Michigan. So.
Yeah. So let's talk about you coming to America. How was that like, and when was that?
Okay, so back in the early 80s, I believe 81, I left Vietnam and lead a tiny boat, cross the South China Sea or the East Sea. I don't want to say it was South China Sea because of kind of political reason there. But cross the sea, and we finally get to Hong Kong I think about 7 days later. Okay, and I stayed in a Hong Kong refugee camp for a few years. And then finally get to America as a young teen. Bethany Christian Service is the one that brought me here to West Michigan. And I live with foster family, and I graduated from high school. And here
Where
we
did
are.
you go to high school?
I went to South Christian. That's where I graduated from. Great school. Yeah.
Was it hard adjusting to being in America?
Oh yeah, everyone had to. If anyone been through it, they would know. Not only the culture, the language, and everything else. But my story is not an exception to any other refugee. We have similar story. I came here and because of my age, I was enrolled in the 9th grade for a few months, and then I go on to 10th grade, and from there. But back in Vietnam, I only attend 2nd grade, so I skipped 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. All those years are missing years. So school is not only the language barrier is a problem, but the academic background the problem also. But with a lot of help and a lot of determination, make it through high school. Should study harder, but
I think everyone thinks that.
Yeah. As South Christian, being in sport is more important than in many ways. I had to say it, but at the time I focused so much on soccer and track and didn't really pay much attention to my academic, but I did okay. So after that I went to Western and graduated there with my business degree, bachelor, and then a couple of years, at least 92, 94, 10 years later, I go back to Grand Valley and get my master there in computer science.
I remember that time. I remember being little and you working during the day and then going to class at night, and I remember thinking, where's Dad? And he's getting his master's. That's what Mom would say.
Yeah, but it was tough. But I tell you what, I intended to go through until I got my PhD, but because of you guys coming out, I'm glad you guys. No, saying nothing wrong with it, but I will remember when I married your mom. One of the conditions I said I got my PhD before we have kids. But lo and behold, we have all three of you guys.
Yeah, that was not Mom's plan.
But I'm glad you guys, and I'm really, I'm very proud of my kid. But I never got a chance to finish my PhD. That's one of the regrets I have. But hey, life, you cannot get everything you want.
Yeah. So how did you end up working with the Vietnamese community here in West Michigan? Why not stay reserved and just focus on your own business?
Good question. For I don't know what the reason is, but I always been involved with the community for the past, I don't at least 35 years. As long as I graduated from college, I always looking ways to serve the community. And the first thing I did, okay, I graduated back in April, and then April 92, okay, and then June 92, that's when I first found the Vietnamese radio station, WG, I know 89.9, WGVU, something like that. It's been so long. So I ran the program with a few other people, the first Vietnamese language program ever, and the intention was to help the Vietnamese refugee and the people who don't really have the language skill to get all the news. So we do a lot of news translation, a lot of story, a lot of things like that, and we did it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 2 hours each, so 6 hours a week, and that program run almost 5.5 years until the radio station is sold to GVSU. So that's my first gig of doing community work, and those 6 hours in the studio, outside you can spend at least 20-30 hours a week to get everything prepared. That's my first time serving community, and it's all up and down, but when you have the heart to serve people, when you have that, it's almost become part of your DNA. You can get out of it. Now, sometimes you are happy doing it, sometimes you get frustrated because whatever the reason it is. People who do volunteering work, they know. Okay? But if you're really committed, you're really passionate about it, you always find a way to serve. So that is my first time doing it with the Vietnamese community. Why I'm doing it with the Vietnamese community, first of all, Vietnamese, I'm Vietnamese American. And second, I believe that you serve where it need to be served most. It's like the reason going to church. You don't go to a mega church to become a part of it. You go to the church that the church need you. You serve whoever you serve, but those people need you. Not be there just because to be a scene of it or just to be a big part of it. In many ways, you can play a much bigger role and a more important role just being in a small organization where they need you the most. Okay, so I focus on that. Okay, and after that, guess what? After that, the program closed. So in a few months, we start the Vietnamese WKTV program back then. That was about 25 years ago. So I started out the first Vietnamese language program on WKTV, and after that, I believe a couple of years, we hand over to someone else, and it's been ever since. So the Vietnamese community play a very important role, or let's say heavily involved with WKTV for the last 30 years or so, and I'm so proud of it, that we will be part of it, and so we do the best we can to, get involved in that,
And today, your role in the Vietnamese community is what exactly?
Today, as you know, that currently I serve as a Vietnamese community president, as an elected term. So I got elected back in 2015. I was supposed to serve for 3 years term. At the end of 3-year term, I want to get out. I resigned. I did everything I can to get out because I believe, let someone else do it, and I move on and do something else. It's not more important or less important, but I believe that, you play your role, you get out and let someone else serve. Give that someone an opportunity to serve. Well, we haven't found anyone yet. Nobody wanted to run for the office. By Vietnamese bylaw, you have to run for it. Either it's one party or two party, but they have to have elected by the community. So I am on my second term, hoping and waiting for someone to take over.
Okay.
But no matter who will replace me, I will always be there to support the community.
Yeah, for me, growing up in West Michigan, being Vietnamese American was always interesting. It wasn't something that I valued till I got older. I definitely think that for a while it may have even been a culture that I rejected because it made me different. But after working, as you know, in the community as well, like you said, it's in DNA. And I think I inherited that from you because I started working with the Grand Rapids community at 12 years old at Our Community's Children as a youth commissioner, and then went on to Mayor's Youth Council. And then at 16, at the State of City address, I was awarded the Champion of Diversity by former Mayor George Hartwell. So I agree that it's in our DNA. And that through time, our love for community and our love for representation of being Vietnamese American, it just grows. And it is something that I hope to pass down to my children, not just our history of being volunteers in our community, but our culture and our language especially. But as you know, my Vietnamese is not up to par. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm professionally fluent, but it's definitely something I want to work on as time passes, and that's why I find it important that when I do have a family, I want you and Mom to be around so that you guys can speak Vietnamese to my child and make sure that we maintain that as a part of our family. That's important to me.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
As long as parents, we don't force our kid, and you know that, we don't force you got to speak Vietnamese. In fact, we speak English most time
We
at
do.
home. But as long we somehow embed a value in you as Vinh and Kim V, that being different is an access, not a liability. And no matter how hard you try to be so-called mainstream, you guys usually want to be white, you always be who you are, okay? And being proud of who you come from, where you come from, is a self-esteem, is a psychological healthy, because nothing worse than you reject yourself, okay? But we all are subjected to the environment we live in. I believe eventually, second, third, fourth generation of Vietnamese will becoming, we call a melting pot, right? Just like the Dutch and the German and Polish Europe have their own community. Now they slowly become one. We eventually will observe into a main one. It's not good or bad, but that's a part of the process. Okay, maintaining that cultural identity, okay, is important. Okay, but you don't have to fight back in terms of being a part of the. You don't want to be too isolated, from the society, because we here as American first. Okay, especially most of Vietnamese refugee and a lot of other people, they chose to be an American, right? They didn't become American by default. Some people been here, they're born here, they're American automatically. But a lot of refugee like me and a million other people, we choose to be American. And not only we choose, we went through a lot. We went through a lot to be an American. And when you become American, you gotta play a part as an American. So American first, you know. Your loyalty, you know, your love, your dedication, your responsibility is within the community you live. Okay, America. Okay, it's nothing wrong that we, like you yourself, went back to Vietnam for 6 months and doing volunteering work for the needy children and all those stuff. That's a real important, because that's what God calls us to do. Right?
I agree.
Yeah, God don't call us to live for ourselves, but to live for all other people.
All His children.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of you. You know, graduate from San Diego State University with a big student loan, but you know,
it's California.
Yeah, you're willing to go back to Vietnam for 6 months and work with the needy children, you know, and play an important role with them, and that's really important, because you do a lot of good things, you know. You're doing good work for God first and foremost, but you also, you know, ambassador for America, you know. That what makes us a special country, because there's no other country around the world that reach out to help the poor and the broke and every corner of the world like America. Of course, you know, there's a limit what we can do.
Right.
Know? We can't help everyone. We cannot take everyone in. But what makes us special is that, you know, we are the first and always the last to help people who are in need. You know, so that's good. That's good.
I think my trip to Vietnam was definitely influenced by the way that I was raised, watching you always be involved with the community. And it was good. I mean, my time there working with children with disabilities in rural areas of South Vietnam, I mean, it was amazing. But, you know, I do agree that I was there as a Vietnamese American. I was representing America. And it's actually funny you say that Americans, you know, go to other countries to volunteer. I had a lot of locals there say, well, can we come to America to volunteer like you? And I just started thinking, like, yeah, that would be cool, but I don't think that's how it works. But yeah, no, it was a good time, and it definitely, it drove me further into my love for children with disabilities and my culture and my volunteer work. I mean, you're right, the 6 months without any pay was a little bit difficult, but I wouldn't have done it any other way. It was the best 6 months of my life thus far.
That's good, because, you know, that's what being, sound like cliche, but, you know, that's what being American is, that you give back. Yeah? You receive, then you give back. And I think that is the role that, if we can, not everyone have an opportunity first for like you did, you know.
Yeah.
But that is really important for us to give back. And you know, I think the Vietnamese American is a new community, you know, only 40 years or so, and that's, you know, that's a long time, but in terms of history-wise, that's not a long time. So we first come and we receive handout, we receive support, welfare, you name it, but then we work hard and we work every way we can, you know, any possible way to build an economic base. Okay, so once you have all the food and shelter, you know, being taken care of, the next phase, you know, you looking outward, you know, get involved with community, helping all the people, you know. So that naturally happened. I see that a lot of that happen in it now. I mean, 20 years ago, you don't see that, because you still have that period where you have to worry for your own. You know, you need to have, you know,
your basic needs.
Basic need, job, you know, shelter. On top of that, a lot of Vietnamese refugee, and this is no exception with all the refugees, you know. When you come to America, not only you at the disadvantage economically in every level you have, but you also have the responsibility back home. You left your country, but your loved one, your family, your mom, your dad, your husband, whoever is back home is also looking for your support.
Right.
Okay? Just like two foster kids we have, we recently, we recently about a year ago, we have two foster kids in our home. They come from Eritrea, right? And they've been here as a young teen with all the difficulty they have, but they still, trying to do odd job in the weekend just to get the money, $50, $20 to send home to help mom and dad at home. And that is a story I want to tell people out there that is the added more responsibility for the refugee people, because not only they are trying to survive in America, they try to make the family back home survive. And a lot of time back home they think in America, money come from the tree,
Yeah.
so easy to make money in America, but they don't, so that is one thing that people wonder why the refugees work so hard, because they have double responsibility at home, here in America, and then back home. And that is this, to make them, work hard.
Yeah. And we brought them in through Bethany Christian Services too. So I always tell people it's kind of a full circle thing for you to be able to offer your home to someone, because you were given that opportunity as a refugee yourself. And I definitely admire that, and they're fantastic kids who've definitely changed our lives. And definitely happy to have them as two new siblings.
We are about to get another one. The oldest one moved out a couple months ago. He's age out, moved out. And we are about to take another kid from Honduras. 10 years old from Honduras, who he didn't know how to read and write yet. Never went to school. So it sounds like, where I was coming from. At least I got second grade education, but he's younger than I was, and so I'm sure he'll be okay. And we are excited to receive him to our family.
So tell me about your work that you do now, Dad, because for me, I know you just sit in an office all day, and that's about it for me.
Yeah, right. You see how dark I am. I'm all outside.
That's true. You're either outside or in the office.
That's right. I'm a workaholic. So right now, what I do is, I run a small IT firm. I've been there 20 plus years now on my own, and it's doing okay. I'm very blessed. Okay? But the latest project that I want to talk about is the Easy Samaritan. Okay? Easy Samaritan is a project that I would say, one day I die, I want that to be on my tombstone. The most important, the biggest project I ever done for community. And this Easy Samaritan, with my vision, is to play a very important role, almost forever change the way non-profit organization raise funds. Now, as you know, that over the years I served in many community boards. And one of the biggest, and someday I encourage you to serve, pick a board that you're really passionate about and be a part of it. Because being a board member in nonprofit play a very important role. Okay? You not only you make policy, but you also actively carry out tasks. Okay? One of the biggest tasks is fundraising. And one of the things I frustrate so much about fundraising is you spend so much time and energy in it. And you do all you can, but at the end of the day, it usually don't, you look if you got half left. So meaning you work so hard, you do fundraising, dinner, concert, and you raise about $10,000, and then at the end, let's say 10 or 20,000. At the end, you get 5 or 10,000 left. So about almost 50%, and the data show even more than that, sometimes 60, 70%. Okay? So you work all those so hard, and at the end of the day, expense, right? Not much for the non-profit, for the cost that you were trying to help. And that is, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way people do it for years. But with the technology we have nowadays, there's a better way of doing it. There's a better way of doing it. Because I believe if I want to give $1 to a cause, I want that dollar to go into the cause. Maybe not the whole dollar, there's no way. Because you have all the expenses, but you want at least 80 cents, maybe 90 cents if possible. Not, only 20 cents, 30 cents go into the cost. Right. So I don't care about the dinner, I don't care about the concert, I don't care about, I just want my money to go into the cost. Well, with the advanced technology, with the internet, it allows us to do that. And not only it is spread out, you don't restrict by the border, because I don't travel to Canada and Australia and South America to do fundraising, but with the internet, it allows you to do that across the globe. So a few years ago, we will start using an online fundraising. We use GoFundMe and some other platform. But even that, okay, even they really save a lot of money, and they really provide great tool. And so, not saying anything bad about GoFundMe, not at all. Okay, but as an engineer, as a software engineer, I said to myself, I said, you know what, we can do better. We can do better. We can do better than GoFundMe. We can do better than YouCarry. We can do it better than a lot of site owners. Okay. So what we did, okay, I assigned a team of 7 people, including me. We worked on it for almost 3.5 years. So you think about that, about 3.5 years with 7 people working on it full time. If you calculate that to be $50, $75 per hour, that's a cheap rate. We spent over $3.5 million on this project. Economic cost. And the reason for this platform is to allow people to do online fundraising, just like GoFundMe. But what it makes a difference is it allows people to donate the item to auction off online. Okay. So, put in a simple term, you're looking at taking GoFundMe and eBay and combine together into one platform. So now, let's say Uncle Phil don't have the money to donate. He can donate the coin, the old bike, whatever, to auction off for that nonprofit. Okay. We also recently added on another feature we call time donation. So now, as a donor, maybe you don't have money, maybe you don't have nothing to give to auctions, but maybe you can donate time. So it provide a nonprofit a complete tool to do fundraising. Some organizations, they may not need the money, they need the volunteer.
Hands-on people.
Yeah, hands-on people. Let's say you have an event that you need, 5 people to serve on setting up the tent, 2 people to serve a greeter, 5 people to take down the tent, on and on. Sometimes not only money, but you need the people who are willing to put in the time.
Yeah.
So now the tool that we have called EasySamaritan.com. E and Z, like zebra. Samaritan, like the Bible, easy, Good Samaritan. EasySamaritan.com. People can go up there and open an account completely free for all the nonprofit. Okay, the nonprofit can use this for free. Okay, and they can do it. They can do fundraising. They can looking for volunteer. Okay, they can auction off items for the organization to be profit up, because and I have people ask me, why are you spending so much time and money in this project and then you offer for free? Well, I believe nonprofit in America play such an important role. Can you imagine that in America, doesn't matter what community, without nonprofit organization, we in big trouble. We in big trouble. Okay? So what makes America exception or better is that we have so many nonprofit. We have church, we have you name it. Okay, being taking care of the needy, so that the government don't have to, because the government don't know how to. Okay, so we have these people, taking care of a big burden. Now, not everyone in America are wealthy. Not everyone in America are healthy, and not everyone in America are ready to stand their own feet. So we need this nonprofit to taking care of certain needs, okay, within the community, and they need help. They need help. They need every single way we help. With our tool, I believe that we can revolutionize. We can change the nonprofit forever, in terms of giving them the tool. And the tool they need the most, the tool to raise money. But without raising money, without having the volunteer, okay, you're not much off in all of this. Because nonprofit, most of the money got to come from somewhere.
Right.
Okay? Mostly donor.
No, it's true.
So anyway, so that's the project that I'm passionately working on, and it's ready for people to use. It get a little slow because we need money for marketing and things like that, and I'm working on that. And but that is a project that right now my everything beside working all the hours, all the projects I have, my heart is in that project, and we hope that people can use it. The thing here is people need to know what it is. You can have the biggest, you can have the best thing, but nobody know what it is. Nobody know. All right. Okay. So right now we need to get the message out so people know, hey, there's a tool out there for your church, for your organization to use it, okay? Including WKTV, because this is nonprofit, okay? To do fundraising online. So thinking about this one, don't make it complicated, okay? An online fundraising platform, okay, that have both cash donation and auctions combined.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm glad you're helping Daddy on that one. And so hopefully it's going well. I believe it will. It will.
I mean, it's a different tool. It allows anybody to give. If you don't have money, but you have something valuable you don't need anymore, you can donate it. If you don't have money or something valuable, you can donate your time. There's no excuse for us as Americans who live in the best country in the world to not be able to give back to whether it's our community or a community elsewhere in the world. I mean, I really do believe that it's caring and giving. That's what makes the world go round. And yeah, that is what distinguishes us as Americans, is that we are able to do that and we care to do that.
And some people say, why you focus on nonprofits so much? Why don't you make it for anyone to do it? Well, our platform does. Our platform allows individual and organization to do that.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm so focused on nonprofit, because that's an industry that left out by all the guys out there. all the guys out there, they are commercialized. They focus on individual because individual is easy. Okay, but nonprofit don't make decision like individual. Individual, you want to raise fund, you can raise fund. You don't ask anyone else. You don't have to go through 15 hoops, board meeting and meeting. You get all kind of approval and the attorney and everyone got involved when every time you do fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to focus on nonprofit, church, and all the nonprofit organizations because they are the segment that are being left out. Okay? And
they're being left out, but they're the core of our community.
I know. The sad truth is a lot of these nonprofits are run by people who are 55 years or older, right? So they're not in tune with technologies.
Mm-hmm.
Raising money online, what the heck? They terrified about that. They don't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, but it's time for somebody got to change that.
Right.
Help them change that, you know?
Yeah.
Because people usually get very fearful of things that they don't know. Okay? And unfortunately, that's nonprofit, you know, are mostly run by older men and women who, you know,
they're not as comfortable with technology.
No, they don't.
But I mean, that's why we've made Easy Samaritan easy to use. It's a part of the name is for it to be easy, because we should all be serving and being good Samaritans. So your role in this was to make it easy for people to do that. So it's really about spreading that message that anybody, any age, any person, anything can donate and create a campaign.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it is easy.
It just makes sense because nowadays, guess what? If you do fundraising, you got to invite people, send letter out. The cost of sending a letter is almost $1.50 by the time you're done with it. Postage, I mean, that's marketing firm. That's all the marketing, direct mail marketing firm will charge you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, of all the costs involved with it, $1.20, $1.50. That's what I've been quoting. That's what, you know. But why? You could have it on Facebook.
Sure.
To share.
It's free to share on Facebook.
It's free to share. Okay?
Yep.
Twitter. All these technologies that being used for free. Okay? I mean, you can have a video that you have 1,000 or 10,000 people view it. This costs you a penny.
Yeah.
And guess what? Nowadays, you know, yeah, you see that most people don't spend time on computer.
Yeah.
Everything on the phone. So our application allow people to donate money just your phone. You can donate time and money. That easy, you know. But getting through the organization is tough because, you know, once again, they're not familiar with it.
Yeah.
You know, and
I mean, it's a new thing, and we're working. You know, we're building our credibility as well. But at the end of the day, it's a tool that was made with your whole heart and with the intention of helping, purely just helping. Because we've been blessed enough to be in a situation where you have the time and money to do that. This is, like you said, this is what you want to live on past, you know, it's your legacy.
It is my legacy. The thing that I wanted, I think I want, that will be my biggest contribution I can do. And I hope in that, you know, that's one of the reasons that we appear on a program like this and a few other programs, and that hopefully we can get the news for people. One thing what I have learned is, you know, it's not as easy. I learned it now that you have an organization. The guy who in charge of making financial decisions, and the guy who in charge of setting up the website, and the guy who do the fundraising, it's all different people. With the platform we have, you need one person, just one person to do it.
One person to manage.
To manage. But then there's one person, listen, you know, I don't have the authority, you know, to do financial decision. I got to wait from someone else. And that someone else said, well, you know what, I have to contact my attorney, our attorney, because to make sure that all the money we receive is legal and things like that. So
And this is why it's harder for nonprofits and individual campaigns.
I know, it's being new.
It takes time.
It's being new. So, I mean, I have organizations that take them 2 months to get it set up. An individual, you set up in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? But an organization, people get involved with so many part of it, you know. The person who good at, you know, setting up the website or manage the website, it's not the person who can charge the finance or things like that, you know. But I believe that eventually, you know, people come to realize this is a great tool, and we have a lot of people really, you know, really appreciate it. So.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, I hope anyways that it turns out well, and I will obviously be doing everything I can to help you with that, because whatever helps you, you know, helps me, and I want to see that this does live on and that all of your work and time put into it is something that will be recognized.
We're working on with some nonprofit foundation to help us to get the message out, you know, because we want this to be the tool we can use for, you know, otherwise I spend all this time and energy for nothing. But I believe it will. It will. Okay, it will.
I mean, it's got to be a part of God's plan for you, because you wouldn't put this much time and money into something if you didn't feel like it was really your passion and what you were meant to do. So I believe that it will.
Yeah, but I think you have to understand what, like anything else, you can spend 20 years building that car, right? A perfect car. But if you don't find ways that how well that car run, it depends on how much money you have for the gas, you know, what the highway will be, what the road will be. What I'm saying here is getting the system, the application done is just part one. The next part is you have to work hard at it to get the message out. Okay? It's not easy. It's not easy, because there's over 1.5 million nonprofit, just 501c3 in America. To get the message out to all these organizations, just a letter, just one letter, will cost you over $2 million, right? So it's not that easy, and it's tough, but we'll get there. You know, I was kidding the other day. I said, if this application that we have that is run or developed by the Maya or the divorce of, you know, whatever family, this could be going like fire, you know. People will like jump on it right away. But it's produced by Phillip Nguyen. People don't know who I am, you know, and I'm sure that part of them, they kind of, you know, have that doubt, you know, that what it can do.
Well, I think that as an immigrant, you've been breaking barriers and ceilings all your life, and I don't doubt that this is another one of those things that you'll do. So I'm excited for the years to come.
Yep. We had to fight for it. You have to work extra hard for it. The opportunity there. You know, I mean, you just have to work extra hard. I mean, of course, you know, you have being immigrant and being a ethnic, you know, there's disadvantage and advantage. Sometimes you find advantage and sometimes you find disadvantage. And a part of life, you just have to work hard at it, you know. And it's my very intention to do the best we can to get this tour out.
Well, I'm glad we were able to talk about this and learn more about your time in America and how you got to where you are today, because these are obviously stories that I will share when I have kids and so forth.
No, I'm not an exception. I'm just, there are more people out there, way lot more people out there that do much better than I am. You know, they do a lot of work in community. They do like contribution. I'm just a minor part of it, just a small speck of it. You know? So I don't, you know, I'm not, you know, exception or anything like that at all. You know, yes, there's a lot of great individuals out there that do a lot of good for community. That, you know, we don't know who they are, and they don't want to talk about it. You know.
Yeah. I think being humble is a large part of the characteristic of being a volunteer, lifelong volunteer.
Yep. You want to be a long-time volunteer. You want to do any good for a community. You just have to. You have to think in this way. You have to give and give and give. Okay? You won't receive a lot of praise. You won't receive a lot of thank you. You won't receive a lot of award. You won't receive a lot of applause. In fact, the other way, right? You can do all the right thing for 100 times, and nobody know about it. So one time you make a mistake, people will jump on it. But part of territory, that's being a volunteer is all about. You know, you're willing to give.
But you don't expect anything back.
Exactly.
Yep.
If you expect people to say thank you, you expect people to acknowledge you, expect you in the wrong mode.
Yeah, your heart's not in the right place.
Because you'll be disappointed. And I told this to many people who do volunteer to work for the community. Okay? If you're there so that you're being appreciated, you will be disappointed.
Yeah.
That's not in a territory you should be in the wrong mentality. Okay, you have to be ready. Okay? And so a lot of people got really excited and this and that, and then want to be part of it, and they got all this hype up, and all of a sudden they go flat.
Yeah. Well, hopefully with EasySamaritan.com it makes fundraising easier, and the nonprofits will continue to raise the funds they need to do what they do that makes our community work.
I hope so. And anyway, we thank you WKTV for allowing us to share our story. They play a very important role in this community, especially the voice programs. Right now, a lot of this story is not important at this point. It might not be important at this point, but it will be important in generation forms. You know, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years from now. This is part of our heritage. It's part of our community foundation. It's part of our life and story. And I think the voice program like this allow us to do that. You know, it's like an archive of living history, all right, in sight, sound, and motion. Yeah. So thank you so much, WKTV. Thank you.